Hey guys, welcome to my Battlefield 5 review. Needless to say, not super impressed with this game. And unfortunately, I'm going to have a lot to talk about it as a whole when it comes to EA DICE in this game. This is going to be a two-parter. The first part is going to be actually about review of the game upon release and what it is now. And then there's going to be kind of a caveat review compared to how they marketed and handled this whole game and the situation that arose around this game. But in order to keep the video short, or the first part, I'm going to mainly focus on issues like glitches and textures and quality issues of this game. Like right now, the back thingy on my German soldier is doing something weird. I think that was supposed to be light reflecting off of it, but it went from blurry to clear to blurry. Am I the only one that saw that? Yeah, that's just an example, though. So we're going to talk about things like that in this part. Second part, I'm going to get more deeper into how EA has handled this whole situation with women in Battlefield 5 and how they have handled the fans. I'm not going to get into how people outside EA and DICE handle it, because you're going to have... There's trolls on both sides of the fence, and the people on EA's side are more trolly and were worse than EA in some senses. So I'm not going to get into that. I might cover that in another video. So right now, let's go ahead and get started. One of the issues that a lot of people first noticed when this game came out, I'm not talking about the beta. I might mention the beta every now and then. But one of the issues a lot of people notice, on PC at least, when the game first came out, is textures in the menu, or even objects in the menu, would render in very, very slowly and randomly. And you would expect this from a lower quality game or a non-AAA developed game, but you wouldn't expect this from a DICE EA game, especially when you're going to pay $60 for. Now, I know people are going to argue you're not paying $60. You don't have to pay $60 for it anymore, because if you are a Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, or Hardline veteran, up until December 20th. So as I'm recording, it's December 12th. You got 8 days to get this game. For 50% off. You can either get the basic version or you can get the premium version. On Xbox One and PS4, I heard there's issues with doing it through Origins, but supposedly you can do it through Origins too. But don't quote me on that. I have confirmed it on Xbox One at least. I can't confirm it on PlayStation 4 because I do not own a PlayStation 4. But anyway, enough about that. And also, shortly after, like a week or two after release, it was on sale for $30 in the PSN and Xbox stores, so you got that going for you too. But anyway, when this first came out, and for those who pre-ordered, they paid full price, whether it was $60 or $80 depending on the version they got it, unless they're paying the $15 a month for the Origin Premium. They're paying good money for this game, and this game was incomplete and broken. They already delayed it once and to fix some of the issues and get it ready for it, but even that delay, they didn't have time to finish it. The game came out incomplete. For example, the practice range, which is where we're going to start after I just show a little example of a rendering issue. It does it, and then it doesn't do it, so hopefully it does it this time. This dog tag, you can see it slowly render, and I think it's not really the rendering. You see the light moving along the bottom of the dog tag, and then it darkens in some areas around here. It's not doing it now, so yeah, it was a rendering thing. And just to show you guys, my graphics are not max because my computer can't handle it, but they are at a decent setting, and pretty much everything's on ultra in the advanced setting. And then if you're basics, you got film grain. Maybe that's the issue. I wonder what happens if we shut off film grain. I might check that out later. So my graphics aren't bad, so it shouldn't be having that issue. But then if you go into my profile and look at that same dog tag, it actually looks a lot better. Why is this taking so long to load? See, it looks, I mean, other than blurred edges, I think that's part of the film grain and the light reflection. But you can actually see the pitting in the metal. You can see the different textures. You see it smooth here, not smooth here. This looks cleaner. The imprint on the dog tag actually looks cleaner, but not. So it's just quality issues. I know this is nitpicking, but you know, honestly, EA and DICE, you set yourselves up for this for being so arrogant with the whole "if you don't like it, buy it" crap. All right, Well, if people don't care about the women in Battlefield and they bought it anyway, which is nothing wrong with that, well, maybe I'll nitpick and give them other reasons to not buy this game if they are on the fence about it. Now, to a lot of us, that's not going to be game breaking, these quality issues, because we all know it's going to get fixed. If they're going to treat this like they did with Battlefield 4, DICE is going to constantly be working on this to improve the game. I guess they intend to have this game to have a bit longer life expectancy. Battlefield 1, I guess, is on its way of dying. I don't see them fixing a lot of the issues in Battlefield 1. By the way, I'm going to go ahead, before I get too deep into this, I hate Battlefield 1. I absolutely despise Battlefield 1. And I know I'm probably alone or in the minority on that. So you're going to hear a lot of Battlefield 1 hate and very, very little praise about it. The only thing I really liked about Battlefield 1 was the war stories, which I think were far better than the war stories in this game. And the game looked beautiful, and the music. Those are the three things I really absolutely love about Battlefield 1. I love that it was 4, because I absolutely loved it was Battlefield. It was World War 1, and I like that. I know games like Verdun have done this, but I like that it was different for Battlefield, that they went to World War 1. I like they tried something different, so I like that. You're gonna hear the hatred later when I get more into this video, but anyway. Which, with that being said, this is pretty much a reskin of Battlefield 1 with slightly improved graphics. The UI and everything looks the same. Now, I noticed that even in Battlefield 4, they're trying to change the UI to Battlefield 4. I think they're just trying to make it universal across the board. But, sorry, this is a petty thing that should not influence your guys' opinion on Battlefield 5 or 1. This is just mine venting a little bit on how much I hate Battlefield 1. But so we know DICE and EA are gonna, or DICE I should say, EA, we all know they don't do squat except try to milk us for our money. DICE is gonna try their best to improve this game over time, and they've already released like 2 or 3 patches. There's a patch just before I started recording this video, which is why a lot of the issues I was going to point out aren't being pointed out, because you can't see them anymore. They actually fixed them, so that's encouraging. I will admit that one of the things I didn't see in Battlefield 1 as much, at least on the consoles. I heard if you do it on the Xbox One X, which makes no sense to me, it's a far better game on Battlefield 1, or for Battlefield 1 on the Xbox One X, and then the PC it's better. But as far as the difference between a One X and a console, they just give up on fixing it for the Xbox and just want to focus on the One X. I don't know what it was, but because you can hardly find a game now, and when you do, you get kicked or crashed a lot. So the other issue with Battlefield that a lot of people have is its incompleteness. Tides of War, I believe, was recently added. That wasn't out upon release. It kind of sort of makes more sense with that, but one thing that everybody doesn't make sense with is the practice range. Battlefield 4 had a practice range since day 1 of release, as far as I remember. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But it had a practice range, and the practice range was very, very, very basic, but it worked. It served its purpose for you to practice. For the vehicles, at least the air vehicles, you had UAVs and other things, and then some ground targets to destroy, which the UAVs were Global Hawks, so just a little bonus information for you guys. And then that went for the helicopters and the aircraft, the jets. And you could fly every single jet in the game. You can fly every single helicopter in the game. At least, it might have been just limited to the Americans. I can't remember. I think it's just the American vehicles you could use. But nonetheless, every vehicle that was available to the American side, you had available to use. Even on the ground vehicles, you had all the tanks to use. The tanks didn't really have a whole lot to shoot at unless you wanted to destroy the range, or the boats off in the distance, or shoot the tanks not being used by other players, or not being used by you. You can destroy then the helicopter sitting on the helipad and all that stuff. And then the most impressive part, where people probably spent most of the time, was the actual gun range, where they had targets at different ranges. And they had different setups for targets. They had targets moving side to side, so you can work on leading your target, whether you're sniping or using a DMR or something that requires range and to lead. I mean, most of the guns required you to lead, but the ones that you mostly saw and where you actually noticed the leading was in the snipers and stuff. Then you actually had ranges where you actually had to worry about bullet drops, so you could practice on managing your bullet drop when your sniper rifles and some of the other guns that could handle ranges like that. And you actually got practice of the different guns you use and built. Now, Battlefield 5, you also have a practice range. You also have a shooting range. But then you have a weapons challenge, which is fun. It gets boring and repetitive. I got to like wave 25 and just gave up. And in fact, while I'm talking about the practice range, you're going to be seeing, it's probably already playing by now, a clip of me in the practice range. Ignore my skills. I'm not that great at a first-person shooter on PC yet. I've been playing too much on Xbox and too used to the controller. But I am getting better. I'm just not there yet. But so that being said, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate when I start talking trash about the sniper rifles. And which is fun. It's all about speed, learning how to aim down sights, how to quick snap to basically snap from target to target to target. But it was there where I realized how dumbed down the sniper rifle is. But we'll talk more about that when I start talking about the classes in this. And be warned, when I start talking about the sniper, it's going to be more Battlefield 1 hate. The vehicles are kind of a joke. They do have a vehicle challenge. Basically, you just drive around in a little German car and run targets over for as many laps as you can until the tickets run out. I don't know if there's an end to the laps or the waves for the weapons challenges. It's kind of boring. Maybe you do so many laps and it does something more exciting. I kind of got bored with it and just gave up after the first lap. The tanks you can use, you can only drive the Churchill or the Flak Panzer. I think that's what they're calling the German AA gun, the mobile AA. And those who play War Thunder is called the Whirlwind or the Werby. I believe, actually, you know what? Is it the Whirlwind? I think the Whirlwind has one cannon. Now I'm questioning my knowledge of War Thunder. It might actually be the Flak Panzer. Anyway, sorry. Getting into sidetrack here. Don't need to waste any time on going on rabbit trails. And then for the aircraft, all you got is a Spitfire and the Ju-87. Yeah, okay, the principle of tanks and vehicles are going to be about the same. I believe, though, like the medium tank and the heavy tank have different cannon velocities, so you're going to be proficient in a heavy tank, but what about the medium tanks? And what if you want to test out your different specializations on these tanks without have to worry about fighting over trying to get to a vehicle before somebody else or being destroyed before you can actually test it out when you're playing in the multiplayer? You can't, because the only targets that the tank, when you're in the tank, there's Churchill, the only target you get to shoot at is wood cutouts of a Tiger tank and wood cutouts of men. And by the way, the wood cutout of the Tiger tank can be shot down with a machine gun. You'll see that in the clip too. I mean, come on, guys, put more thought into it. Maybe this is just the beginning stages of the practice range, and they plan to add a lot more as the game gets updated and worked on. It's very clear practice range has got its issues because they had an issue that this patch supposedly fixed it. Squads were randomly disconnecting from practice range when they were working together, which again, they delayed the game. And then you wait like 2 weeks after release, 2 to 3 weeks after release before you get practice range, and they still couldn't get it right the first time around. They still want us to pay full price. Again, you don't have to pay full price if you haven't bought the game yet. So that's a big knockdown for me, in my opinion. Something, at least out of everything that was released, the practice range should have been out in the beginning. The rest I can kind of understand, as it was an overtime release, especially since they're not doing DLC anymore. But the practice range, yeah. I mean, the AA in the practice range, you got actual aircraft that fly around. You're bombing targets for the bomber. They're radar dishes, and when you bomb them, they don't blow up, so you don't know if you hit it. And I didn't get hit markers. I bombed it I don't know how many times, never got hit markers. And one thing I did notice in the practice range, like when I was in the Churchill blowing up the other Churchill, the Whirlwind or Flak Panzer that was beside me, as soon as it blew up, another vehicle has already spawned. So before the completion of the explosion of the vehicle you destroyed, there's a new vehicle. So maybe that's what's happening with the radar dishes. When I blow them up, that's why I can't tell if I actually hit them. But there's no like explosion or anything. So you're not really learning how to bomb in the aircraft, in my opinion. Now, when you're in the fighter, again, you get those aircraft that are flying around, you can shoot down. The gun range is a joke. You can only do your target 25, 50, and 100 meters. So you don't have to, and they're stationary, except they may slide backwards, but that doesn't really matter because there's no bullet drop at up to 100 meters. Honestly, I don't even know if there's bullet drop in the game at all. You can adjust your range on your sniper, so I'm assuming at some point you get bullet drop. But I wasn't able to find out on practice range, because even if I try to back up out of the firing range to make my target further than 100 meters to see if there's bullet drop, I guess I could probably shoot at something stationary on the map and see how it goes. But I wouldn't get a response to see if I actually hit it. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hit it with the lighting in this game, or see if you hit it with the lighting in this game. Because then the target, as soon as you leave the lane, the target pops down. So you can't shoot it at anymore, and you don't get your hit counters anymore. And one thing I noticed, and somebody please let me know, because I didn't use the MG34 and the MG42 in the multiplayer that much, because I didn't like having to hit fire only unless you're using the bipod. I might try it out later. Actually, I'm probably going to. But when I was using it in the practice range and I had my bipod out, its recoil was all over the place. Even at 25 meters in burst firing, I got maybe 8 body hits with a 15 round magazine. When I'm playing multiplayer, unless they nerfed it recently, maybe they have, I'm getting shot like it's a laser beam when they're using the bipod. And it seems like, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like they're going full auto when they do it. Which makes sense. Using the bipod, you have more stability, you should be able to be more accurate. But the accuracy when I'm in the practice range seems to be just as good hip firing as it is with a bipod. It might improve a little bit with a bipod, maybe, but I don't know if that's a glitch in the practice range or if that's how these guns actually operate in the actual game now. But enough about the practice range, and like I said, I talked about Tides of War being out recently. We're going to go on to the war stories, and Last Tiger is my favorite, but it was also the last one to be released. It was released the same time as the practice range, which is a joke in my opinion. And in my opinion, the war stories, if they're going to argue, well, it's like having DLC, well, if that's the case, they should have did the Germans and the British first, and then the other two, the French and the Norwegian war stories with DLCs. Like, if they're going to add the French to play in the game, or the Norwegians to play in the game, then they should have came out with that. Because right now, the only thing you play in multiplayer is the British and the Germans. Hopefully they'll add, if they add Americans, hopefully they'll have an American war stories. They didn't seem to add war stories to Battlefield 1 that I could tell. I could be wrong, because I know they added the Russians later. And hopefully they'll add the Russians to this too. And with that comes more war stories. Which, by the way, DICE EA, if you want to tell your story of women on the battlefield, Russia would have been perfect for you because they did it the most. I don't know what you were thinking about using this. By the way, Nordlies is based on an actual mission. It actually took place, and it was completed by British and German commandos. The British SOE were also involved. We'll get into the SOE later. I'm going to do another video that's going to go in more details about this war story. And women in battlefield, so stay tuned for that. But the British SOE, the British commandos, and the Norwegian commandos were involved. Now the SOE, from what I've been able to read so far, were only there for intelligence gathering. The actual raid on the heavy water plant, spoilers for those who don't want to know about the ending of this mission, if you should have known by now because it's all over YouTube, but maybe you don't. The raid on the actual heavy water plant was completed by the Norwegian commandos. The British commandos were killed before they could do it. The Norwegian commandos actually were able to complete the mission, and actually better than the woman you're playing in this game. They did it without killing a single German, which is impressive. And then the only time they actually had casualties is when they had to sink the ship, which they used a submarine in this, that was carrying the last shipment of heavy water out of Norway. That's when casualties are involved. But no, this one woman could do something that, but not as well as a whole Norwegian command team, but it would have been a boring mission if you were just running around not killing people. So I get why they do that, but hey, little hint, EA DICE, if you did a little more reading and research instead of worrying about bad-mouthing all your fans, you would have found out there's actual stories of actual women on the British side actually getting involved in combat, where they were to the point in firefights. And you could have used those stories, but no, you had your head so far up your butts worrying about proving everybody wrong that you just made up your own bullcrap and replaced men in the game with a woman. Insulting both the accomplishments of the women in World War II, if you ask me, and the accomplishment of the men in World War II. So think about that a little bit, DA and DICE. I'll get a little more into that in my next video, by the way, that I was talking about this. But enough about this. Again, my favorite is The Last Tiger. This one, I haven't played yet, but I've seen of it. I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I don't think I'm going to enjoy it as much as Last Tiger. This was a joke. The text options, this is even in multiplayer. You can't read half the crap on multiplayer, even see objective flags and stuff, because everything's in white in a bright laid out map. So these guys are all speaking in their native tongue. So in order to know what they're saying, you have to read the subtext, but you can't if it's in a bright area because it's white and blending in with the background. This one, they're speaking English, but their speaking English is sometimes hard to understand. And same thing, you can't, if you want to be certain you heard what you thought they said, you can't see it because it's covered in the white background. What were you guys thinking? Sorry. Okay, I'm done about the war stories. Now we're going to get into the classes and wrap up this portion of this video with my final verdict. It'll talk a little more about gameplay, then I'll talk about the final verdict. Okay, so we were talking about Battlefield 1 and my hatred towards it and sniping. And I said I was going to talk more about Battlefield 1 and warned you guys of more. Does that look like it's not rendered very well to you guys? Doesn't look like it's rendered very well to me too, but it could be the film grain. Maybe I need to shut that off. Sorry, my throat's drying out. But before I get talking about the different classes, we're gonna start off with the sniping class. One thing EA and DICE really needs to stop doing is comparing this, and all of you out there, comparing this to Call of Duty, and stop trying to compete with Call of Duty. Call of Duty is Call of Duty, Battlefield is Battlefield. They are not meant to be the same. They were both different. Yes, they're both first-person shooters. But Call of Duty is more of an arena-style Twitch shooter with very little teamwork and tactics, because a lot of times people are lone wolfing to see who can get the most kills in the match and the least amount of deaths. In Battlefield 1, yes, you can do that too, but 9 times out of 10, when you do that, you lose. You can't really carry the team on kills. And people still brag about that in the chat. You'll see that. Like, you guys all suck. Look at my KD, and we still lost. Because KD doesn't matter in Battlefield. It's an objective-based game. Yes, I know there are objective game modes in Call of Duty, but 9 times out of 10, people are playing just the team deathmatch or the deathmatch just because they like killing, which is nothing wrong. I like seeing my KD be, positive at the end of every match, and no matter what shooter I play. But when I'm playing Battlefield, I'm worried about objectives, I'm worried about healing, and I'm worried about reviving. I play medics a lot, and we'll get to that a little more. It's just as bad when Call of Duty first came out. I loved Call of Duty when it first came out. It is kind of wore off on me. I don't like it anymore. I think it's more casual. It's not casual. It's just, it's cancer to me. Nothing against people who love Call of Duty. I respect people like Call of Duty and people like Battlefield. But again, we need to stop trying to mesh the two. Back when I was heavy in Call of Duty, I could play Call of Duty like I was a Call of Duty player and Battlefield like a Battlefield player, but I never said, oh, Battlefield does this better or Call of Duty does this better, because to me they were two separate different games. They weren't supposed to be competing with each other or compared to each other. Just like when Halo and Call of Duty first came out, people kept, there's this war about Halo's better than Call of Duty, Call of Duty's better than Halo. Oh look, Call of Duty might beat Halo this year, which I don't think it ever did. But it couldn't, because Halo was a completely different game. It was sci-fi, futuristic, at least compared to the older Call of Duties. The new ones, you might be able to compare it to Halo more, because they got all sci-fi and futuristic too, and yeah, there's some similarities there that I've been noticing. So stop. EA, DICE, the fans, stop. Call of Duty, Battlefield, not the same. End of story. And Battlefield and DICE stop trying to, or EA and DICE stop trying to cater to the Call of Duty players. Let them play their Call of Duty, let us play our Battlefield. It's that simple. And no love lost towards those who play Call of Duty. And more props to you if you can play both like they're meant to be played. With that being said, Battlefield 1 dumbed down sniping. It takes little to no skill to snipe, especially since they had that sweet spot ranges. No matter how close or where you shot them, you can kill them with each rifle. That was garbage. I'm glad Battlefield 5 took that out. Oh, that pissed me off so much. Battlefield 4, if you were a good sniper, if you can handle yourself close range and long range, close range, you shoot a guy with a rifle and then switch over your pistol and kill him. That was in the story. There's no sweet spot range, and the only one-shot kill sniper rifles out there were map pickups that don't exist anymore, but that's fine, because what Battlefield 1 took that to the next level, and I believe that absolutely destroyed the game. I hated those hero classes you can pick up. I think they were trying to, milk that from Battlefront series. The Battlefront series I never played, so I can't say how that worked, but in Battlefield 1 I feel like it broke the game, but that's just me. Especially you have a medic and a support guy following you around, healing you and giving you ammo all the time. But anyway, enough about that. Sniping in that, was way too simplified. Now, I think they got more simplified in this, because I don't even feel like I have to hold my breath half the time. In the practice range, you'll see me, like, basically scoping in, shoot the guy in the head, chamber next round, scoping in, shoot the guy in the head, chamber around, scoping in, shooting the guy in the head. Never holding my breath once. Never holding my breath once. That's a joke. I'm sorry. And I know you could probably do that in real life, but real life in video games, some people do have a tendency of breaking the two and making them separate. But real life in video games, there's some things that happens in real life that doesn't translate very well in video games. Sniping used to require skill. The only way you can do close range headshots like that was if in Battlefield 4 is if you did red dots and ACOGs. Now you could take the scopes off the snipers in this game, and if people run around doing that, fine with me. But there's people running around with scopes that are just as effective at range as they are at close range. Joke. It's the quick scoping and no scoping in Call of Duty coming into Battlefield, and it needs to stop. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it's gonna get there if you don't knock it off. Alright, enough of my rant about Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty. Like I said, we're here to talk about the classes. Now, overall, the classes I think are done pretty well. The Assault class, well, I say done about Battlefield 1. I absolutely the reason why I hate Battlefield 1 is because of the Assault class. It is the most overpowered class. It has every type of weapon that you can have in the game. And it had so many explosives, and you could spam the crap out of them. And all the weapons they had were overpowered, in my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, go ahead and tell me, because I know a lot of people think I'm wrong. A lot of people actually love Battlefield, and it's probably because of the Assault class, because almost 90% of the people I see play usually are the Assault class. Anyway, overall they're done well. The Assault class still, as far as weapon choices, is overpowered in my opinion. Not saying that they wreck the game, but if you notice, again, most people are still playing Assault class, and it's, one, they have the most explosives. That's one of the reasons, and two, because they have, in my opinion, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I know some people are impartial to the support class guns, like the KE-7 is support class gun. I love that gun. And some people like their snipers. Those are both, I think, as far as being privy to one class like that, like if you're specialized in one class, it's because you're just opinioned. But with Assault class, anybody that doesn't want to put any thought into their gameplay plays the Assault class, because you don't have to. But other than that, I think the classes have done really well. The only complaint I have is with the medic class, and how, like, even the sniper rifles. The sniper class has two types of rifles. You get the self-loading rifles, which are semi-automatic. They may not shoot as fast as the semi-automatic rifles in the Assault class, but they still are semi-automatic. And then they got bolt rifles, so with a total of 7 guns. And then we go into the support class, and same thing with the weapons. They actually have 8 guns with 3 different types. Technically, I tend to say these are the same class of gun or type of gun, but they are broken down to 3. I know what makes these different. They shoot faster, and they also have you can't aim down sight when you're running around. You have to be prone, and they hit harder. Then you got the LMGs. So there's 2, which they don't. Oh, let's see, this one shoots pretty fast. The FG42 670. But look, and this is something else I'm going to point out. The sniper class is the only other between the. So the support and assault both have the ability to have guns that can go semi-automatic to full auto, and the support class has 3 guns that can do that. Then you got the shotguns. They got 2 types of shotguns. One that can even be used at range because it has the rifle round. Then I'm gonna save the medic class for last. This is where I'm gonna again prove why the assault class is, or not prove, show why I believe the assault class is overpowered. They have now this support class has 3 types of guns. The assault class have 2. They got the semi-autos and the assaults, and both are incredibly good at close and short range, or close and long range. So the assault class is, I think, the most rounded. Now the support class is pretty well rounded along the short range. The Kia E7 can wreck people up close and can wreck people at a distance. That's my most experience with the gun with the support class. I don't think I've used anything else. But even with this assault rifles, you can go semi to full. So even if you can't hit at range with full, you can take your semi-auto shots. Same with that one. Same with that one. All 3 assault rifles can go semi-auto. That's a joke. And then they got the regular semi-auto rifles. I mean, come on, guys. How's this fair? Give the medics some of these. Because you know why? This is what the medics have for rifles. Or weapons. All they have are SMGs. That's it. And they're all full automatic. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. There is one. But the damage is really weak. Actually, it looks like they're all the same damage when you look at that. Huh. But they're super weak. And then if we look at the assault rifles that can go semi-auto and look at their damage. Look at that. Damage is better. Because the medics are like down in this area. Not a whole lot better, but it's still better. So, with that being said, EA and DICE stopped messing with my medic class. The medic class, how they were set up in Battlefield 4, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is the best compared to Battlefield 1 and 5. I'm not going to say the best medic class out of all the Battlefield series, just out of these 3. Because they're the ones I have the most recent memory of. Battlefield 1, the only thing that saved them was the fact that they can... and honestly, I didn't like this, but you could poke the guy with a needle really fast and he'd be instantly revived to health. Full health. I don't necessarily like that, but it's the only thing that made the medic somewhat relevant in that game. The rifles, yeah, they had a few full auto rifles that you switch between semi and full. Kind of sort of made them valid. Where they can actually send some pew-pews downrange and kill all the bad folks. But and then healing, they were still valid in Battlefield 1. Just they were definitely nerfed. They weren't. Nobody ever really played the medic because everybody knew the medics weren't that great. It was either support, assault, or recon. Mainly assault. Then probably I would say recon would be second, with support closely behind it. I don't have any facts. I didn't look this up. This is just based on my personal experiences whenever I play a game. And then every now and then you have a medic. And the reason why is the medic class sucked when it came to fighting. The only thing that saved them to actually make them valid in Battlefield 1 was they could actually heal and revive, and the revive was very effective. I liked in Battlefield 4, you can revive, quick revive, but the guy would revive with only 40% health. Or it was like 40 health, I think. And then if you held the paddles, it did a quick 100%, and then eventually if you're doing really well, you unlock the perk to do quick revives. I think that was perfect and should have stayed that way. In this, there's no speeding up your reviving. You're reviving to revive. And but not only that, now everybody revives. In Battlefield 1, those who did play medics, I was competing with them all the time for revives. Now, but that was just against the medics. Now I'm competing with everybody on the team for revives. Now I know people are going to argue, well, if you're not a medic, you only revive those in your squad. Well, if I'm the only medic in the area, but there's 4 guys in this one area and they're all in the same squad, they can still beat me in the revive. And not only can they beat me in the revive, they could revive a lot slower than me, which would risk more people being killed, because now you're taking one of the better guys in combat out of the fight, so they can't lay down cover fire for the rest of the team or you while you're trying to revive the down guy. And 2, they take a lot longer to revive, so it makes it easier for the enemy to kill them before the revive's complete. Or kill them when they complete the revive, and before the other guy can react, kill him too for a second time. It drives me nuts when I'm in a squad and we're actually working together as a group, and I never can get my revives because the slower reviving guys who are better at fighting than the medic class in this game are stopped shooting to go revive the guy when they should let the guy who can revive fast revive him, and they can continue shooting because they're probably going to be more effective. Now I'm going to people are going to say, well, you need to get good AirConda. You're not that great at shooting. I already said this. I'm bad at shooting at PC shooters. Leave me alone. Let's fight about it. And I'm working on getting better, so I do need to get good, and that will help. And with that being said, I have gotten a lot better with the medic. I figured out a meta that works pretty well for them. For me personally, as smoke, I always carry a smoke rifle and the grenade, smoke rifle. And this we'll get into the gadgets of each class. The smoke grenade rifle. I used to shoot right on the body of the guy I was reviving. Big mistake. Very small cloud of smoke makes it easy for the enemy to shoot you while you're reviving, because they, even though you smoked it, they still know where you're going to be. And it obscured the vision of the guys on your team who are trying to shoot the enemy who's shooting at you. Better to shoot it closer to the enemy, as close to the enemy you can get it without shooting over them, because then it really obscures their vision and gives your team the ability, and makes it, which actually makes it harder for them to shoot you while you're reviving. And it gives your team the ability, a better ability to kill the enemy while you're reviving. Just a little tip there. Now the gadgets are overall pretty good. Assault class just has a crap ton of explosives, which made them super annoying in Battlefield 1. They don't seem to be as annoying in Battlefield 5 yet. They seem to serve their purpose more for tank killing. And now it does get super annoying to be killed by a Panzerfaust in the face when you're running around, and the guy that shot it that's point blank to you doesn't get hurt or killed at the same time. So that's kind of annoying. Them killing themselves with dynamite just so you don't get the kill, that's annoying. I mean, they kill you too at the same time. But it is what it is. We gotta be able to deal with the tank, so I can't tell DICE and EA to get rid of that. So the only thing I wish they would change in the gadgets, people are probably upset that the medics don't have a whole lot, but I'm okay with it because I'm a minimalist when it comes to medics. I'm just with medic bags or pouches and smoke grenades, and I've been like that since Battlefield 4. I hardly ever used any of the gadgets other than the revive pads or the shock pads and the medic bags, because I actually did my job as a medic. I wasn't selfish and worrying about my own stupid KD. And that's it. So. And the funny thing is, too, I'm always reviving, but I hardly get revived. It's like the curse of the medic. And maybe that's just me, though. I doubt it, though, because I hear a lot of people complain about people not reviving. Again, so like I said, overall, the classes are pretty good with their gadgets. I just wish the support class had the mortar. I don't know why they took it out in Battlefield 1. Maybe there's a lot of people complaining about it. Battlefield 1, it didn't bother me all that much. I mean, yeah, it wasn't always super effective in maps like Conquest, but it's still fun to use. I like having fun sometimes. Sue me. The ground vehicles are pretty well balanced. I'm pretty happy with their selection for them. You got the, for the Germans, you got the Panzer IV, the Panzer 38T, the Tiger 1, and the Black Panzer IV. That's a pretty good balance. I don't know, unless they start adding other countries, I wouldn't really mess with the tanks too much, adding too much more ground vehicles. And the British had the Valentine 8, Mark 8, the Staghound T-17 E1, the Churchill MK7, the Valentine AA MK1, and the Churchill gun carrier. So that, I mean, that's pretty good. Actually, do the British have more tanks than the Germans? No. That's equal, right? I'm just gonna look real quick. The aircraft are kind of a joke, honestly. They just have different variations of the same aircraft. One thing I am happy that they have nerfed since the game come out. Yeah, they do have more tanks. That's interesting. I don't know why that is. The Germans have quite a few vehicles that they could have used DICE in EA, but whatever. I just wish they had more variations or more available in the aircraft. Like I said, they just have 2 aircraft. They pretty much essentially only have 3 aircraft as the German and 4 aircraft as the British, I believe. They have more, I know, but it's like the BF-109 is twice, and the Stuka B is also twice, and the Ju-88. So yeah, they technically only have 3 aircraft. I mean, I know the different variations have different capabilities, but if you're gonna be bragging about customizations, let me be able to see different aircraft where they get more. I mean, for crying out loud, we know they're out there. Like I said, I missed the B-17. I wish they had the B-17. Or I know the Americans aren't in. I believe the British use B-17s anyway, but I wish they had heavy bombers like they did in Battlefield 1942. One of my favorite memories as a kid is when all the soldiers were standing, and I miss taking off from the ground instead of having to do air spawns all the time and fighting over it that way. I wish they had these on the ground. You had to take off from a right runway, like maybe way off out of bounds, so planes couldn't come in and kill you while you're trying to get into it, or people can do C4. I know that's why they took it out, so people couldn't blow up the vehicles before they take off. But it was a clip of Battlefield 1942. A bunch of guys went on the wing of B-17, so this B-17 became a heavy bomber and a troop transport, and people just jumped off, and I thought it was really cool. But you can't do that in Battlefield unless somebody's going to be brave in the plane, which nobody's going to do this, and land on the ground so the teams can climb up on the wings and then take off over the enemy objective and parachute out. That's the only in Battlefield moments I miss. And you still have your only in Battlefield moments, mostly because of bugs and glitches and stuff, but you still have them. But they're not as epic, in my opinion, as they were in the older Battlefields. At least not yet. The planes do need to be nerfed a little. I've seen planes run into the bridge at Twisted Steel and still live. I watched a video of Jack Frags literally have his nose wedged up into the beams of the bridge and still alive until somebody finally shot him down. Now, granted, he couldn't shoot anybody who was in a Spitfire or a BF-109, I can't remember. So he couldn't really shoot at anybody, but if he was a bomber stock, he just drop bombs. I mean, yeah, you have to go reload your ammo. The in-air repair needs to be fixed, especially for guys shooting at AA. It's really annoying to, because I know you got the emergency repair, so it restores a certain amount of your health. They need to nerf that a little bit, because you're shooting at an AA, and you may still be able to kill the aircraft, but it's not until after you drop the bomb, so you're gonna die anyway. So it's like negates the ability of aircraft AA in the game. Aircraft are kind of a problem in Battlefield 1, but this is the nature of the game because you don't have anti-air missiles like you did in Battlefield 3 and 4. You just have regular guns, and then you can try to hit them with the Panzerfaust. I haven't seen anybody do that yet, but you're not going to do it when they're way off in the distance, unless the person really sucks. And then I am glad they made it so they don't spawn in. Look, with the ability to bomb your spawn as soon as the countdown's over. That was super annoying. As soon as you were able to move, the enemy planes are already over your spawn bombing you, and there's nothing you could do because you barely take 2 steps and you've been bombed. I'm glad they fixed that. I know most of us agree on that, and the select few who are trolls and love just buffing their KDs by just constantly bombing the spawn at the beginning of every match probably are upset. Go cry about it. Oh look, there's gonna be another update. Look at that. This is like how many updates is this now? At least they're trying to fix it. But overall, the game itself, aside from the glitches and the quality issues and some of the complaints you already heard me talk about, classes and comparisons and all that, the gameplay is fun. The time to kill still seems, even after the update of the supposed update to the time to kill, still seems a little wonky to me. Sometimes it seems like I can drop, and people argue it's because you're hitting him in the head more. There's times I don't feel like I'm getting hit in the head that much, or the person I'm hitting it. I don't know what it is. I can't really explain it. It just doesn't feel like headshots are being connected that much. But there'll be times I'll be shooting a guy in the back, and I drop him instantly. And then there'll be times I'll use half my magazine. And somebody will probably say, well, it's because he's probably already hurt. Yeah, you're probably right. But there's been times I know for a fact the person wasn't hurt. I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry about that. That's my dog having a puppy dream. Where was I? Yeah. I can shoot him in the back at full health, and he drops instantly. Then there's times I'll do it, and he has enough time to turn around and drop me instantly because he does land a headshot. So maybe I am connecting headshots when I drop them instantly and I don't realize it, because the headshots, I don't know what it is, because usually in any other game I knew when I land a headshot. any other Battlefield. But this one, and I don't always know. I know you get that ting every now and then, usually when you kill them, but I hear the ting when you kill them without the headshot. So that it is what it is. The gunplay is fun. Epic moments do happen in the game. I do appreciate that. Or I say appreciate. I enjoy. I can have fun with this game. Let's put it that way. There are aspects of the game that makes it not fun, but it doesn't really have to do with EA and DICE. It's more about the players. I don't know how many times I'll end up with a team that either just really, really suck or more worry about their KD. This is where I bring about the complaints of Call of Duty players coming in. I think this is just players in general these days with multiplayer games now, first-person shooters. But more worry about KD, so they care less about the objectives. Me, I like winning, and I can't help it, but I must only go for the objectives, even if it means I'm going to die 1,000 times. And it gets frustrating. But again, that's not DICE and EA's fault. It is and it isn't. It is for trying to cater to those kind of players more, to make it more casual. But then at the same time, it isn't, because I don't... Even if they start catering to those who like to be more strategic and go to the objectives, I think, and I'm talking about, I know they're making it, because one thing I noticed, I don't think kills influence the ticket drop as fast. It seems like, and I do like how the ticket rate drop is a lot better, but I don't think the kills influence as much as it used to. So in that sense, they haven't catered to the Call of Duty players, but it's more about how the guns handle and perform. I think they have catered more to Call of Duty players. I mean, the meta class is pretty much reduced to hip firing. If you're close range, and this is a habit I need to break myself out, you can kill people aiming down sights at close range, but you're gonna be. I've been more effective with hip firing, and I hate hip firing, but that's the way the game is now. Which makes sense at like extreme close range, but just medium close or close range to medium close range. Why would hip firing be more effective than aiming down sights? But whatever. Am I super excited about this game? Other than the fact that it's being World War II again, no. I'm not really all that excited about this game. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I don't hate it. I can't play it as much as I used to. I used to play Battlefield 4 for hours. I can't do that anymore with Battlefield 5. There's a point I eventually have to stop. Do I say that I've seen things like in their advertisements the greatest game of the series? I don't think I would say that. No, it's not the greatest game of the Battlefield series. I can't say that. I'm sorry. And anybody that actually believes that has obviously not played all the other Battlefields in full depth, or they've never played them at all, or they're being paid to say this is the greatest game of the series. So, pre-fixes, I would give this game 4 out of 5, or sorry, 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 pre-fixes. Now that they're starting to fix it, I'd probably say a 6 or 7, and that might be generous. Out of 10, I don't. It's a meh game. It's fun to play when you're playing with friends, and that's about it. I remember with Battlefield 4, I was always excited. I'll be at work looking at my stats and like excited, like, and all the unlocks and stuff, and excited about getting back home so I can play the game. Me, I'm like, I play this game once a week now for my stream, and it's Fridays only. And I'm not like, ooh, I can't wait till Friday so I can play this. Yeah, I'm just like, it's a shooter. Hopefully I'll have some fun with my friends and won't be completely washed. Hopefully I will have fun. Whereas, like, granted, there's very few games these days that do that for me anymore. Like, Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm actually really excited every Tuesday it comes up because I really enjoyed the game. I think the game is a lot of fun, so I'm excited when Tuesday comes. That means I get to play it again. So, that's why I don't give it above a 7, even with its current fixes. Do I think it's going to improve and has potential to be a really good game if DICE and EA is willing to commit to constantly fix it and stop worrying about bashing its fan base because there's a group of us that didn't like what you've done with it? I think it has potential to be a really great game. I know this is not going to probably make any sense. When I started doing the video about the second half of the game, about the issues behind, like I said, with the bashing of the fans, how they handled the press releases of this game and all that, I'm going to give it a completely different rating. because it's going to be based on that. Now, I know a lot of people are torn on with having women in the game and how EA has handled it. They say, well, I'm not buying this game ever again. I was on the fence with that, not because of the women in the game, but because of how EA has handled it. And they continue to shoot themselves in the foot with this whole 50% off for Battlefield veterans. And they do it 3 weeks after release. So because like so many YouTubers have said already, Battlefield 5 veterans, well, you know, I'll say this for the other video. This video's already gone on long enough. So, with that saying, on gameplay and presentation, the music, I forgot to mention this. The music's absolutely beautiful. I love the music in this game. And I've always loved the music in most EA games. I remember the Medal of Honor series had some of the greatest music in video games at the time. Now, again, my game knowledge then was limited, but out of the games I was playing, I love the music of the Medal of Honor series. Battlefield has always had a decent to really good playlist of music, and Battlefield 5 did not disappoint with this. Battlefield 1's music was incredible. I love that about Battlefield 1. The game, both of these, Battlefield 1 and 5, even though how much I hate Battlefield 1, both these games look beautiful and incredible. And I'll give them that. And they just need to refine it and fix all the issues that everybody has with this game. Do I think they're going to recover from the hit they've taken in sales? No, I don't. I think they're going to have to hope they can salvage themselves with the next Battlefield release. But the path they're going, because I heard about what they're doing in Dragon Age and some of the stances they're taking with that and how they're reacting towards people who are reacting negatively towards that, I don't think Battlefield 5 is, and I could be wrong, but I don't think Battlefield 5 is going to be much of a contender. Only like the true diehard fans who can care less about the politics and the drama behind it and just want to worry about the gameplay are going to actually enjoy this game. So that's my point of view on the game. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you give me a thumbs down, like I always say, I don't have a problem with thumbs down. It just means I get more feedback. Any feedback is good feedback. No feedback is horrible. That's when you know you're doing really bad. If I'm getting negative or positive feedback, that's no I'm doing well. Negative feedback is feedback nonetheless, even if you're being trolly about it. But the only thing I ask is if you give a thumbs down, let me know in the comment why you don't like the video. Let me see if I can, maybe we can discuss what you agree or disagree with, or there's something you don't like how I handled the video, and I can continue to critique my quality of production so that my quality of videos will also improve over time. So other than that, guys, until then, check me out my Twitter, my Facebook, my Twitch. I got a Discord as well. And I will see you guys in the next one. By the way, all these links are down in the description. So, you guys have a good one. I appreciate it. That you didn't even call it out Bravo. Where is that going? That's going to a spawn. What the heck? That's not Charlie. That was their spawn. You aim at the ground. You don't aim at the flag. Wow!